Hi, I'm Aiman. Welcome back to my how-to videos. And this video is going to be a how-to on the operation of a STIHL FS94R or pretty much any similar weed whacker. And this video is pretty much meant for those people who bought STIHL, this STIHL weed whacker, pretty much used, or they found it at a garage sale and it didn't come with the manual. And then they went onto YouTube and searched up how to do it, which is what I would do. It's also for my brothers and for me, because actually up until today I've never done this whole process from start to finish. At some points my dad would step in and help out. So in this video I'm going to show you the full start to finish operation of this STIHL weed whacker. Alright, so here's the first step: mixing the oil. You don't want to use just unleaded gasoline for your whacker, because what's going to happen is if you use only unleaded gasoline, your engine is going to seize, your pistons are going to seize, and it's going to end up damaging the entire thing. So what you're probably going to have to end up replacing the piston or the engine, and that's probably, and for a 300 mower like this, or whacker, it's probably going to cost you around $200. So you probably don't want to adventure into trying to mess up with the gasoline. In order to do this, what we need to do is we need to mix some gasoline with this 2-cycle engine oil. And what this does is it mixes at a 50-to-1 ratio in order to, with a gallon of gas, in order to make some oil gas mixture that is suitable for the whacker. Alright, so let's get right to pouring the gasoline. The first thing you want to have is probably a pan to make sure that it doesn't spill anywhere. And two gas cans. One of them is probably going to be filled with some unleaded gasoline right here. And the other one is going to be one that is a gallon capacity right here. And first off, we're going to screw both of them. And what you want to do is, first you want to open them up. And keep in mind that when you open them up and you try to start pouring, it's probably not going to start pouring instantly. Hold on. Because in order to pour this, what you need to do is you need to open this cap right here. The reason why they have this cap is so that when you pour this gasoline, it doesn't all just come flowing down into the thing. And you can actually control the flow by putting your finger over the cap. Alright, so I just realized I forgot to open the entire cap. Make sure you do this. Okay. Let's get to pouring. It looks like there's already a bit of oil in here, or gas, but that's alright. So, like I showed you before, this is why having a tray here is important, because it might spill. Oh. Alright, so what happened just now is my dad let me do it by myself to see what I would do. And he actually intervened just now, because that's the worst way of doing it, I should say. And actually, there's a much easier way, and it involves using these caps. So originally, it goes in like this, right? But what you can do is you can flip this over. On the bottom of this nozzle, there's actually another cap. So you want to take this one off, and you can also do this on this side. You can insert it, and basically, this is what it looks like originally. What you can do is you can insert it, and then you can push the nozzle out and use it as a nozzle. What you want to do here is you actually want to aim the nozzle into the other gas canister, and then you can lean it inwards. So you want to pour it until it's a gallon, which is sort of about this mark. Alright, so now we have this can filled with a gallon of gasoline, and now what we want to do is we want to put in this oil. So I mean, first thing we'll do is we'll put the oil in, and then after that, all we want to do is we want to put the nozzle back on, and then we want to secure it, and then we should be good to go to refill it. So this one should be fairly straightforward. This entire thing goes in there. So now what we want to do, like I said before, is put the nozzle in. Okay, and then after this, we're going to shake it around a bit to get it mixing. And then we should be good to go. So now we're going to pour the gasoline oil mixture. And the first thing we need to do is we need to open the oil cap right here. Right here. And then set that aside. Then take our mixture going to open the cap, take the spout out, make it stand straight up as much as it can be, and then we're going to open this right here. Okay, and the way I'm going to be holding this is a bit awkward. You want to make sure that your thumb is on this hole right here, and then you want to angle the nozzle downwards. Okay, so now you can see that when I put my thumb on the hole, the nozzle isn't providing any fluid, but when I take it off, it comes out. That's pretty cool. And then you want to fill it not too much. All right, so it looks like that was a bit too much, but after that, all you want to do is just push it back down, close the cap, and close this this hole right here. After that, then you can put the cap right here back on its tank. And make sure it's tight. Alright, so before we start the engine, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the oil mixture is actually pumped through the system. In order to do this, what we have to do is we have to pull this choke back right here. And then we want to look at this little bubble thing right here. And then we want to press it 5 to 10 times. We usually press it just 5 times because it's our preference, but as you can see, what we're doing right now is we're sort of pumping this mixture through the system. And you should especially do this if it's cold or if you haven't started the wacker in a long time. And as you can see, when I press this enough, there's a ton of oil coming up to the top right here. Before, the oil level was down here, but now it's up here. So now, in order to release this choke, I mean, if you want to, what you do is you press on this back lever right here and pull this trigger. You can see that the choke is now released. In order to start the engine, what you need to do is you need to pull the choke back. Okay? And now we're going to start the engine. All you have to do is take this ripcord right here and pull. And pull again if it doesn't start. Oh, hold on. That's the start. What you want to do now is you want to press on this back trigger, then pull the trigger on the bottom here to make it start. Now, let's demonstrate it. So, that was a demonstration of the weed whacker. If you happen to have a head that happens to let you re-spool while you're mowing, what you can do is you can actually take the mower or the whacker. I keep saying mower and whacker, but they're two different things. You can push it down to make the spool extend, but that's only when the actual engine's already running. I actually demonstrate this feature in a different video on replacing the head of your STIHL weed whacker. So go check that out. And finally, what you want to do is you always want to make sure that you have enough spool for your system. So I've also done a few clips on how to re-spool your weed whacker. So here they are. So when you do this, you have to make sure that your head is spinning. And as you can see, the string got longer. It didn't actually cut, so let's keep spinning. And as you can see, after we spin it, you can see that it actually gets trimmed by the metal. Pretty cool, right? Now we're going to take off the lid of the head. We're not going to do it on the trimmer. We're going to set that aside. And we're going to take this already detached one so it's easier for you to see. The first thing you want to do is you want to locate these little holes on the side of your head. There is this one that's shaped for your finger, and this one right here that is shaped for a thin object like a screwdriver. And in order to take off the lid, what you want to do is you want to put your finger. Okay, keep in mind this one is a bit broken, so you want to put your finger in this little hole and push it And basically you want to push it and lift it upwards so that this little ledge right here is pulled upwards. You want to do it on the other side, and if you're not able to use your finger, you want to take a thin screwdriver, probably a flathead. This is not a flathead. And then you want to push it in. You'll see real closely that, and then you're going to be able to lift it upwards. The next thing you want to do is you want to keep track of these eyelets right here. I mentioned this in my other video, but it's going to be a huge inconvenience if you lose them. So don't lose them. And now we're going to be looking at the spool. In our case, the spool actually came off by itself, but usually what's going to happen is it's going to be already secure like this. And what you want to do is, first off, if you're trying to take it out, you just push down on it and rotate it. And the reason why is because when you push down on it, you're going to be able to rotate it so that you're able to navigate it out of these little ridges and bumps that prevent it from being taken out. Now we have access to the spool. Alright, so my dad had a really big brain idea just now. Originally we were going to use the spool, the new spool that we have here in order to demonstrate, but we decided we already have this old string right here that we actually took out from here, so we're going to demonstrate with it. Now keep in mind, when you are installing some new string, you probably want to install enough so that the entire section here is filled, but I'll just try to give you a rundown of what we're focusing on. So first off, you want to just look around your spool on the inside. You should be able to find a little hole right here. I'm going to try to move it around so you can see it in the lighting. And you want to take the end of your string and you want to insert it in there. So this is why the thickness of your string is important. If it's too big, it's probably not going to fit. Or if it fits, it might break easily. If it's too thin, it's not going to friction fit correctly. And another thing, my dad suggested that we do this side first, and that is the side with this button on top. And the reason why is because when we eventually wound all of it together, there's these two little notches in here where we can store or secure the string. And that's going to be useful because after we wind this together, we're going to be storing these in these notches like this. And since we're here, you want a sort of a long length. I think this is a good length that you want. Not too little, because eventually you're going to need to install everything else. But we have this first spool in, and now we want to get the other one. You want to take your spool, and just like we took it out, put it in. If you don't have these hooks, you might have to hold the wires, the strings by yourselves, but because we have these hooks, we're just going to install it like this. So just push it down. Make sure that you first dodge all the bumps that you have on the way down, and then what you can do is you can rotate it around. Okay, let's get that camera angle. I don't know if the lighting's... Oh, the lighting's pretty bad, but anyway, try to angle it so that the spool is secured under either the eyelet or this bump here. They're both at a 60-degree angle, and the notches on the spool are actually 60 degrees apart, so it doesn't matter which one you use as a guide, but just make sure it's secure. We're gonna make this easier on ourselves. We're gonna take these hook places, we're going to angle them. Hold on. We're gonna angle them to under. Okay, so I was struggling a bit there for some reason. But we're trying to get these notches aligned with the eyelets. And now we're going to take our string, take it out, and then loop it through the eyelets, and take the string and loop it out through the eyelets. And it should be really secure. Okay. And now we're going to put our lid on. So the lid's actually pretty easy. It's just lock and click. In this case, it's broken. It's not going to click, but you probably want to insert both of them at the same time, and then... Actually, maybe it will click. Okay. That was a pretty anticlimactic click, but as you can see, the lid is back on. Alright, so today I showed you the basic operation and how-to of a STIHL weed whacker. Today we had an FS94R, but you might have whatever model it is. But it's pretty much the same operation regardless of the model. But today, you can see right here, my dad has left a ton of weeds and grass for me to whack. So I'm gonna get right to it. But for now, I'm Aiman, and thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and look at other videos on EyeOnAiman. Especially take a look at the, how should I say it? My videos on this weed whacker, because I've done a ton of them. I've done a review, I've done several things on how to replace some of the components, so go check them out and I'll see you then. But for now, time to mow. And I just realized I have to start the engine. Hey! One pull, I thought. Okay, so my dad has just informed me that after your first time starting it, you don't need to pull the choke back again because it's gonna flood your system. So the next time you start it, don't pull the choke back. So just keep that in mind. So it should be at this position, not here. It should be not this position, it should be here. Okay. Now, looks like we're good. Let's get right to it.